Hello, University of Saskatchewan. My name is Courtney Woodruff. I am the Marketing and Sales Coordinator for Unbound Medicine, and today I'm going to walk you through how to use Nursing Central, which is your premier all-in-one nursing solution. Nursing Central can be downloaded onto one mobile device and one tablet device and also used on the web. The only time you'll need the internet is for the initial download and for any updates that occur after that. Right now, you should see Nursing Central that's located right in front of you that I have on my tablet. Inside of Nursing Central, you'll have Davis's Drug Guide, Taber's Medical Dictionary, Disease Disorders, the Lab and Diagnostic Tests, and then the university has also added in your Nurse's Pocket Guide and RN Notes. You can scroll back and forth at the top by moving your finger right and left to get to the different resources. At the very top on the left-hand corner, you'll see that there's a little swoosh button. This is our Unbound Medicine logo. If you tap on that, then you're going to notice there's a couple options that you can choose from. Update content is available right at the top. If there is a content update that's available from the publisher, or maybe there's a bug fix on our side, there's going to be a number that's located in the left-hand corner that says how many updates are available. When you click on that, then you can just press Update Content. It'll let you know if the content's finished updating, and because I just updated mine, it says that I'm all up to date. We also have Get Support. This answers any FAQs that you have. It also allows you to contact our support team members if you have any questions. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, anything at all, we really encourage you to use the Give Feedback button. This is how we come up with a lot of our features inside of Nursing Central, and I'll even show some of those to you a little bit. We also have a Rate This App button, so if you do feel led to, let other nurses, nurse practitioners, anyone know how much you value this application, you can always rate this app in the App Store. Now, the Apple does have a little box pop up that will ask you if you'd like to rate this app. I think it's every about 10 times that you open the application, and that's just an App Store rule. I'm going to press Done in the right-hand corner to get back to my main menu. And now I'm looking at my Nursing Central in its entirety. In the right-hand corner, you're going to see it says Index Search with a little magnifying glass. This is our universal search button. So this will search in front of inside of every single title that Nursing Central has available right now. So we're not choosing out of a specific resource. So if I click inside of this box, my keyboard will pop up. And let's just say that my instructor is speaking to me about epilepsy. I'm going to start to type in epilepsy. And you're going to notice it narrows my search down for me. And I see that epilepsy is listed here. And I also have little blocks on the side indicating which record this is coming from. Now, I know that epilepsy is a disorder, so I want to get into that specific section. So I'm going to select the purple icon with the stethoscope. Now, I just jumped from the home page directly into disease and disorders for epilepsy without actually having to go into the disease and disorders textbook. So the universal search took me from the beginning directly into this contact. I can scroll down with my finger on the right-hand side and view any information I need to, or on the left-hand side, you're going to see that there's 4 lines with an arrow facing down. That's our drop-down menu. If you tap on that, or it might take you there right away anyway. You're going to see it also breaks it down to the subsections. This is how you can skip down to the other sections immediately without having to scroll down with your finger. So say I'm in the planning implementation for epilepsy, and I'm reading through my information. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so I might get stuck on a word that I'm just not familiar with. So before I continue with my reading, maybe I just want to learn a little bit more about this word. So I'm reading about the medical section. I get to intubation, and I have no idea what it means. I'm going to hold my finger over top of the word until it highlights, let go, and then you're going to see it says copy, define, glimpse, or note. Now, it's going to show a little bit different for Android users. If you happen to be using an Android, if you highlight the word at the very top, you're going to notice that there's a copy note area, and then you can get into glimpse from that section. If you tap on glimpse, you'll see that it takes me right into intubation of Taber's Medical Dictionary without ever leaving the page. So I can familiarize myself with the word. I can decide if I need to learn more information about going to the view record so it can take me directly into intubation. I can click my back arrow button that's at the top of the page and take me directly back into epilepsy for disease and disorders. And of course, if you happen to just, let me get into patient. If you just happen to have this section open, so you think, okay, now I know what I'm talking about. If you click off of it, it'll take you right back to the regular passage. Now that we've gone over the drop-down menu on the left-hand side in Glimpse, I want to show you about crosslinks. Now, crosslinks is a way to be able to jump from one section that you're in to anything that is related to content and other resources. So right now, we're just talking about epilepsy in general. In the right-hand corner, you're going to see two opposing arrows from each other. If you click on these arrows, this is going to show me anything relating to epilepsy in other textbooks, or maybe sometimes even in the same textbook. So I can see, there's some drugs inside of there. Maybe these are things that are given to someone that suffers from epilepsy. We have some Taber's medical dictionary in there. We've got some lab and diagnostic tests. Now, my professor is asking me, why would a doctor order an MRI for someone that has epilepsy? Now I can see there's magnetic resonance imaging right there. So I'm going to click on MRI and it's going to take me directly from disease and disorders to the lab and diagnostic tests. Once again, I can just scroll my finger down, or you can use the drop-down menu on the left-hand side to jump to those specific sections. We're going to go back to our home screen now. So if you press that house button at the very top of the screen, it takes you back to the home screen. Now, so far, we've looked up disease and disorders and the lab and diagnostic tests, but we're going to go into Taber's medical dictionary now. So I'm going to scroll from left to right till I get to Taber's. It's the T button right there. So I'm going to select Taber's. Now, there's over 65,000 entries inside of Taber's that we can go inside of. So we can go to entries and we can scroll through by hand. We can click on the letter to be able to jump down to that menu. We can even search at the top to get to where we want. We also have over 1,200 illustrations and 100 videos. Right now, I just want to look at illustrations. And let's say that I want to show my patient an image of a brain. At the very top of the Jump To menu, I'm going to type in brain, and I'll see that it's right there at the top for me, so I'll select brain. Now you'll notice at the very top, there's a pronunciation button. The pronunciation does need the internet when you're using that. That and videos, because they're media players, will require an internet connection. But anything else inside of Nursing Central will not need an internet connection once it's already been downloaded or if there's any updates. The online audio is really good for if maybe some words are really difficult to pronounce, or for users that English might be their second language. You can also view the image a little bit larger. If you just click on the image, it'll take you to a second page where you can pinch in and out and be able to view the image as you need to. And then you can just press done in the right-hand corner when you're finished. Now let's say that this is a really interesting entry to me and I want to come back to it later. Maybe I reference it often, or maybe I just want to show a patient, this image of the brain later so I can, when I have a discussion with them. In the right-hand corner, you're going to see that there's a star button. This is our favorites icon. So if I select the star and it becomes solid, this means it's been added to my favorites. So if I go back to my home page by pressing that home button, you're going to notice that it's listed under my favorites right here. If you want to go back to the entry, just tap on brain. It takes you directly back there. There's no searching. If you want to take it out of your favorites, you can just select the star again. When it's become unhighlighted, it'll delete from there. Or when you're in the favorites section, you can scroll your finger right to left and just press delete if you'd like. Now, earlier you heard me say something about the feedback area that's in this left-hand corner. If you want to give us some feedback, this next feature is a direct correlance of your feedback. So We had students tell us they loved not having to carry around all these heavy textbooks. They loved being able to get those updates from the publishers and knowing that they had the most up-to-date content. They loved being able to find answers within just a couple of little clicks rather than having to scroll through the pages and read and read and read. What they were missing was they missed making notes inside of their textbooks and highlighting information. So what we've done is we've created a notes feature that's available for you. So let's just say I am inside of Tabor's, and once again, I'm looking up epilepsy, and I'm reading this information, and my doctor says to me, or professor, you will want to make sure that adults might develop epilepsy as a result of strokes or tumors, anything like that. Make sure you remember that for this Friday's test. So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight the words just like you did the same way when you were making or going into Glimpse. You're going to highlight either just a word or an area. It can be as big or small as you want it to be. And you're going to see Note is available right there. If you click on Note, there's going to be a box that pops up that allows you to highlight that area in either yellow, green, or pink. You can use those however you want for your own categories. I do know some people like to use it for maybe only test items are in pink, maybe only drugs are in green, maybe things that your professor says to you will be in yellow. It's totally up to your own discretion. I like the color pink, so I'm going to make a note right here. So I'm going to ask the patient, ask patient if they have family history of strokes, heart disease. And then I'm going to save this note. You're going to notice it stays highlighted in pink for me right there. If I tap on that note again, you'll see that the note pops right back up for me. Also, if you go back to your home page, next to favorites, you'll see there's a note section. If you click on Note, you can see all the different notes that I have listed right there. There's the record at the top, the highlighted area, and then what I've noted after that. You can also press View All, and you can jump from each section without having to go to the specific note. So, I was on epilepsy, now maybe I want to go to dobutamine, anything like that. So that's how you make a note. Now we're going to show you how to use Davis's drug guide. So far, we've gone through the dictionary. We've done the universal search at the top that searches everything. But a lot of times, you're going to be looking up a specific medication. So I'm going to go to Davis drug guide. I'm going to click on the pill bottle. And now I'm inside of Davis drug guide. You're going to see on the left-hand side, it's a lot of different ways you can look up the information. You can do generic, brand, therapeutic, anything like that at all. This is all of the book in its entirety. We don't limit the information or shorten anything about the content inside of the book. Right now, I just want to go into all entries, and I'm going to look up the drug dobutamine. You'll see it's right there at the top. It's great for me that it starts to limit my options because I'm not a very good speller. So it takes me into dobutamine. You'll notice, since I already have notes inside of here, at the top, next to our favorites icon, the crosslinks button, we also have a note feature that if you tap inside of there, it'll tell me all of the notes that I have for this specific section. I'm going to press done. Now you'll notice at the very top of the entry, we have a high alert medication. We try and make warnings very clear inside of Davis Drug Guide by using red text and placing it at the very top of the entry. There's also the online pronunciation as well, as we had before in Tabor's Medical Dictionary. So if you're connected to the internet, you can be able to pronounce a drug as well. You can also scroll through by hand or use the drop-down menu once again to get to the area that you need. So I'm looking at the route and dosage right now at the very top. I can see it's an IV medication. Now, one of the new features of Nursing Central are our integrated calculators. So when you're viewing a topic inside of Davis's Drug Guide, you can quickly navigate to the monograph to the dosing calculator by tapping on the calculator icon. Now, this is only available for iOS to get from Davis Drug Guide into the integrated calculators, but you can also go, if you're an Android user, the calculator button will just be on the front page for you. So I'm inside of Davis's Drug Guide's dobutamine, and I need to look up the IV pump rate. So right now I see it'll be calculated in micrograms per kilograms per minute. Since this is an IV medication, we want to pump our IV pump to milliliters per hour. So you can make the conversions quickly by tapping on the calculator icon at the top of the screen, right next to your notes button. If you tap on that, you're going to see it limits me to only IV medications. So I'm going to go from micrograms to kilograms per minute to milliliters per hour. So it's this function right here. And you're going to see that it takes me directly to the interactive dosing calculators, which is going to help me convert. So let's say that the doctor ordered 5 micrograms per kilograms per minute. So I'm going to type in 5 right here. The patient's weight, you can put in pounds or you can put in kilograms. So they are 80 kilograms, so I just switched that over. Now we'll still need to enter the dosing available and the volume available. The concentration of the medication will vary by institution. It can typically be found on the packaging label. A common package of dobutamine has a dose of 500 micrograms by a volume of 250 milliliters. So I'm going to put in 500 and then 250. Once I've checked my numbers inside of there and I feel confident of what I have, I can press the green calculate button and you're going to notice the result appears in red, so 12 milliliters per hour. So in order to administer the 5 micrograms per kilograms per minute that the doctor ordered for the 80 kilogram patient, we would want to set our IV pump rate to 12 milliliters per hour. If you scroll down, you can see the interpretation and the formula as well. I can also go back to dobutamine by clicking on the back arrow button by the home button. And that takes me directly back to the drug that we were just speaking about. Like I mentioned before, you can also get directly to calculators from the front page. So if you tap on calculators, you can view all calculators. You can also see the clinical, conversions, the dosage, and the IV pump rate. The very last feature I want to show you before we move over to the web is GRASP. Now, GRASP is our study system. We did some extensive research that showed that students really like to study using decks of flashcards, and sometimes they even like to share those decks with their classmates and friends. So we did exactly that. We built GRASP to enable students to take content from Nursing Central, put it in the form of an electronic flashcard, and you can either keep it for yourself or share it with others. With GRASP, students can master all these unfamiliar content from their computer or your mobile device. So you'll see that we have GRASP located in the right-hand corner. I'm going to tap on GRASP, and you'll see that I have a couple decks already downloaded for myself right now. Right now, you should probably just see a sample deck if you're a first-time user. You're going to notice that it has a question for you right on the front-hand side, and then when you flip the card over, it gives you the answer. If you know the answer, you can just press the green check button. If you don't know the answer, you can press the X. You do have to answer a question 3 times correctly before it considers that you have the card mastered. If you'd like to add and remove decks, you can just press Add Remove, and then you can search for decks that have already been created and made public by a user's the user's name, the keyword, so maybe like the title of the decks of cards, or maybe keywords of what you're looking up for. For instance, I know my friends at Unbound Medicine have made a bunch of cards, so I'm going to press search, and I can see all of these cards were created by Unbound. And I think, you know what, I would really like to look up drugs for diabetes because I have a test this Friday. I toggle that and I press done. It's going to update my deck, and then you'll notice that drugs for diabetes is listed right here for me, and I can study on the go now. Once a card has been downloaded to your device, you will no longer need the internet. You will need it for the initial download and for any updates, though, like I said before. Now we're going to move over to the web so I can show you how to use Grasp on the web and some of your other textbooks. As I mentioned before, you can download Nursing Central to one mobile device, one tablet device, and then you can also use it on the web. So if you're at a computer, you can just go to nursing.unboundmedicine.com. So that's just nursing.unboundmedicine.com. You'll see there's a sign in button on the right-hand side. I'm going to click sign in and sign in very quickly with my username. Once I'm signed in, you're going to notice that it has all of the same content right here. I've got all of the same favorites that I've toggled before in the history. And then you'll even notice when I'm inside of notes, any notes that I just made will also correspond. So the iPad or the tablet really, or the mobile device and your web integrate with each other. So they just sync so everything is the same. I'm going to go back to the home screen. The universal search, of course, works the same way. If I'm searching for something, it'll give me all of the information that I can choose from. You can just scroll down this way. If you just happen to press enter right away, it'll take me to an area where I said, okay, I just searched brain. I have over 1,700 results. So this is going to go through every single record that we have available inside of Nursing Central. You can also refine your search by clicking on the textbooks over here on the left-hand side. So maybe I just want to look for text underneath of Davis's Drug Guide for Brain, and you'll see it's been narrowed down to 158 results. So we've got the favorites, we've got notes. Now we're going to show you the Grasp cards. So if you go into Grasp, I already have some cards created right now, but the very first time that you create a deck, it's going to ask you to create a username. Make sure that this is a little bit different than what you've used in the past. The decks of cards, they should be something a little bit unique to you so people can find you easily. The very first time that you build a deck, let's say I want to build a deck and I want it to be about drug interactions. And I'm going to say this is for Friday's big test. I'm going to build a deck. So now that I have my deck created, I'm going to go and look for whatever drugs that I need that to be inside of there. So let's go back to dobutamine. Now you'll notice at the top there's a calculators button. There's a sharing button in case you want to share information on your social network pages. Then next to that, oh, sorry about that. Let me get out of here. You'll notice that there is a Grasp button. If you click on this Grasp button right here, it's going to give me a question automatically where it says describe dobutamine. If you flip this over, you're going to notice it gives you a lot of information. So what you might want to do, because I'm specifically learning about the interactions of it, you're going to choose which section of the page you want. So I'm going to do, I want interactions of it. It's going to change my question to what interactions are found with dobutamine. Maybe I don't like the way that's phrased, so I can say name some interactions that are found with dobutamine. So I'm making it more of a statement. Now you'll notice when I flip the card over, it only gives me the interactions right here, so I don't have to scroll through all the information to find what I'm studying for. Now we don't allow you to change any of the content inside of here because this comes directly from the publisher. We want you to make sure that the information that you're studying is correct, and also if you're downloading anyone else's Grasp cards, that what you're receiving is also correct. You can make your own notes, however, so underneath of it, say I would like to say, check heart rate. I'm going to save my card. I can study it right away, or I can just continue to build cards inside of there. Right now I'm just going to press OK for the time being. So now if you go back to Grasp and I go to Drug Interactions and I press Study, there's my card right there for me. You'll also notice, so I just made this Drug Interactions card. This is my tablet that we were just on. If I go inside of Grasp, I go to Add and Remove, and I just press Done, so it updates my decks. There are my drug interaction cards that I just created a moment ago. So there's my dobutamine card. You can have as many cards as you'd like to in your deck. It doesn't need to have, there's no limit to how many you want. There is a limit though when you want to share with your friends. Right now you notice all of these cards are private. That's because we don't have more than 10 cards in the deck. Once you have more than 10 cards, if you just press this little pencil button, there's going to be an area where you can switch it over to public. So then anyone can search for your username or the name of your cards, and they can download it to their deck. You can search and download decks just like you did on your mobile device by pressing Find a Deck and search for the cards. You're going to notice I have all these cards right here. And then if you toggle the card on the right-hand side and I go back to my decks, it's been added to my deck of cards right there. Two books that I wanted to point out to you really quickly before we end this webinar would be the two added contents that University of Saskatchewan has added for you. We have the Nurse's Pocket Guide and also RN Notes. Now the Nurse's Pocket Guide is going to help you develop care plans. It's going to help you define. It's also going to help you look for related factors, defining characteristics. It's going to help you prioritize actions. And more than anything, it's going to help you document, come up with your documentation for your plans. So say I was inside of Gordon's health features and I'm making a plan, that has to do with contamination. You're going to notice that they've got your interactions, you've got your desired will, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you've got your documentation focus of how are we going to assess this patient, what's our plan, how are we going to implement this, and then how are we going to discharge them and what plans are we going to give them. The other feature that we have is the RN Notes. This is a clinically focused nursing information resource. So it's going to help you review clinical findings, collaborative management, images and charts are available inside of there. And then it's also going to help you prepare for those dreaded NCLEX exams. So don't forget that you can always make GRASP cards, so studied cards from here as well. So right now we're on Nursing Central. If there's any features that you are that you need help with, that maybe you need a little more information on, maybe you need a reminder of how to use it after we've had this webinar, you can always go to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/unboundmedicine. We have about 2-minute videos featuring things like the notes, the integrated calculators, Glimpse, any of that information that you can watch. If you have any information or need any information, if you need any support, I really encourage you to contact our support team. We have 3 members here, Jamie, Kendrick, and Sean, that are more than happy to help you. They are here Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. They can be reached at 610-627-9090, and the extension is number 1. Like I said, they're available by phone Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can also shoot them over an email to support@unboundmedicine.com. They generally answer during the week, probably within about 15 minutes or so. If it is the weekend, we will answer you the next business day that we have available as soon as we get to that email. I just want to say good luck with your nursing studies. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to our support team or your sales representative, Amanda Reyes. Her email is areyes, which is AREYES at unboundmedicine.com. And I hope everyone has a great semester. Good luck.